If you clicked on this video, more than likely you don't need an introduction to this helmet. You're probably just wondering, who's this asshole, and why doesn't he think that Shoei's bread and butter helmet is worth another purchase? Firstly, while bread and butter might be nice, you know what doesn't go good with it? Kool-Aid! So stop drinking that
Hi, my name is
Valen Pross, and I've been riding motorcycles for 7 years. And in that time, I racked up 7 accidents. In those accidents, I have sustained numerous injuries. Hey yo, some were serious and left me delirious. So, here's a list of the injuries. These are my qualifications, bro. And so, yeah, I am by no means an expert at riding motorcycles. I am, however, for your amusement and infotainment, an expert at crashing them. Listen to the human crash test dummy for a second because he has real-world experience crash testing a lot of helmets. So, when I say that the Shoei's performance in an actual crash was disappointing and left me severely damaged to the point where I no longer have faith in the helmet and will never purchase it again, there's some weight to that statement. I'm going to get into all the reasons why I came to that conclusion, but for those of you who are out for blood and don't want to hear me blibber blabber, here's a picture of me 2 weeks after my accident. And I know what you're thinking. Oh man, a few months later and a lot of shades darker, and you could have been the weekend for Halloween. I know. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. On a more serious note though, there's an entire 2 weeks I don't remember. I had internal bleeding in my brain and a bitchin' Aussie accent that made me quite the charmer with the ladies.
You have to sue yourself.
Yeah.
Bullshit. I'd rather be in the hospital where I could be threatening people. Gas tank a little banged up. Doggies smiling.
For a week, I was basically a Dollar Tree Dacre Montgomery. Oh, and obviously under my weekend impersonation there was something going on. I had a fractured nose. I had plastic surgery for this shit, man. I'm like a typical LA girl now. I'm not how mama made me anymore. Apart from the head injuries, I also had a laceration on my right hand and my right calf. Now, to be fair, the accident that I had in my Shoei was the worst accident I've ever had. But not by a lot. And based off of my experience and from my perspective, it let me down and is not worth another purchase. Because while it was the perfect helmet in every other way, it failed at the most important thing: protection in an actual crash. So, like I said, I'm going to explain how I came to this conclusion, but feel free to disagree with me in the comments. Leave your perspective down there. Maybe give me some insight that, who knows, might change my mind. Be civil though. And if you're a Shoei representative and you want to send some money on the side, So, let's get into all the accidents that I've had that involved a major head impact where I should have retired the helmet. What? You have to build this shit? The fuck? Why isn't anything in life ever easy? Alright guys, so my first accident in my Bell RS1. This guy right here, this is me, right? So, going about speed limit, you know, probably not. I was a kid back then. I was probably hauling ass. So let's say 40 miles per hour around this corner on a road that was about as well put together as Britney Spears in 2007. Doo-doo-head McGee over here ran the corner wide and went into my lane. And I don't know about you, but I'm not a very big fan of head-on collisions. So I got spooked and went wide to avoid them right into the dirt. And I don't know if you've ever been on a sports bike 40 miles per hour on street tires in the dirt, but it's not the best place to be. So I'm looking at light poles, mailboxes, and keep in mind this is all happening in split seconds, and I decide, you know what? This is a party I'd much rather not attend. So I immediately turned to get back on the road as quickly as possible. However, the road that apparently identified as a cookie crumble had a huge chunk missing from it right where I was aiming to make my grand re-entrance. So I decided, woof, I'm not feeling very social today. Another party I'd much rather not attend. So I straightened out, and now pretend this guy right here is a rock. We're gonna bunch him up a little bit. I was a popular guy back then, and this time I couldn't ignore the invitation and went right into the party. A rock on the side of the road that I hit with my front tire, which instantly made my steering get all wobbly bobbly and turned my motorcycle into an electric bull ride with a pissed off bartender at the controls whose girlfriend I'd been hitting on for the past 5 minutes. I got bucked and was sent flying 20 yards, landing on my side with a glancing whiplash blow to my helmet that resulted in the marks that you see here. So if you can imagine, just boop, boop, boom. Doo-doo-head McGee over here was gone at this point, probably on his way to his Alcoholics Anonymous meeting. So, 30 yards and some road rash later, I'm laid out, gasping, wheezing for air, and my middle school teacher happened to be moseying on by, and he asked me, "Are you okay?" And of course I said, "Yeah, I'm good, I'm good." Young man pride was at stake here, so I couldn't be yelling out. Not an option at the time. However, I most definitely was not okay. But from the head side of things, no concussion, no nose or neck damage, not even a headache. And I was up and working the next day. Alright, so accident number 2, Bell RS1, part 2.
Oh God, please no!
If you don't have this face right now, you should. This was a hard lesson to learn, but I should have retired the helmet after the first accident, but I didn't, because I was broke as a joke back then. Learn from my mistakes. Again, this is me. 45 miles per hour down a main street, just on my way to work, being a productive civil citizen. Doo-doo brain McGee over here with his 3 brain cells decided to cross 3 lanes to turn left without looking left. So, real time, I swerved left.
To the left. To the left now, y'all.
But still impacted as so. And I landed in the center divider in the bushes like Rambo. But the only thing me and Rambo had in common was how injured we were, which I will list now. Which should let you know this was a substantial accident. In my opinion, very similar circumstances to the accident that I had in the Shoei. Now keep in mind, this was in a helmet that had already been compromised, and the result was just a half-hour long concussion. I don't remember the accident, but I do remember laying in the bushes while paramedics cut me out of my jacket and boots. Maybe my inner fashionista woke me up like, "Those is designer! Oh, don't do that!" And I was out again until I woke up at the hospital with a police officer over me asking me, "Son, how fast were you going?" And keep in mind, I had just woke up and had no idea what the hell he was talking about, but I still had enough sense in my head to respond with the smartest response you could have in that situation. The speed limit. Okay, so accident number 3. Luckily, we actually had a new helmet this time. This is the Bell Star Carbon. So picture this. Middle of butt nowhere on an off-road trail somewhere off of Glendora Mountain Road. And you should cringe at this, I was by myself. On a WR-250R, third gear pin, flying down a trail. What could go wrong?
Oh my god.
Yup, the rock struck again. Watch out, watch out, watch out! So real time, poof. I once again lost my steering, rode that rodeo, and boom, pop, boom. Ended up launching off an 8-foot cliff at 30 miles per hour, totally endoed out, and landed headfirst in some bushes. Taking an impact so strong that it chipped my front tooth and left me with a neck that was sore for a month. But believe it or not, I didn't even get the convenience of being zooted out and relaxing for a bit. No concussion or discombobulation whatsoever. Not even a headache. I was just immediately pissed off and stuck head first inside a bush like a cartoon character or something. This helmet saved my life because when you think about it, by myself in the middle of nowhere, if I had sustained a serious head or neck injury, it would have been over for me because no one would have found me. Another lesson to learn here: don't ever ride alone, especially if you're on a road or trail that nobody passes by on with no cell service. Because looking back on it, I could have died on that one. But the Bellstar Carbon saved my life and performed like an absolute champ. Alright, so accident number 4, Shoei RF-1200, the latest and greatest attempt from the Grim Reaper to fry my biking. And dang it, he's getting good at it! He almost took me out this time. Once again, this is me, right? 55 miles per hour, going down the main street on my way to work again, and due to Brain McGee, or should I say, Shishi Pow McLingling, because the driver was in fact Asian, so the stereotype is strong with me on this one. So Shishi over here, who was probably late on his Panda Walk food delivery, turns left right in front of me while I was traveling 55 miles per hour. And looking at the state of my clothes and helmet, I didn't slide at all. So I probably took that karate chop big slap from God all at once! And it must have been quite the impact because my forks snapped. And not my chow mein eating utensil, like my actual forks. This was my motorcycle after, and as you can tell, I didn't look much better. So needless to say, the accident that I had in my Shoei was a good deal worse than the others. But the head injuries I sustained in it were immensely worse than all the others. So much worse that I can't help but wonder if the helmets that I've had in the past would have protected me better. The Bell RS-1 in particular, similar speeds, similar circumstances, and keep in mind, it had already been compromised. The difference? In the RS-1, I had half an hour of lost memory and consciousness. In the Shoei, I had 2 weeks. Not to mention the fractured nose and big Aussie accent. Looking back at it now, it was pretty funny, but back then it was horrifying. I didn't even realize that I was doing it. Every accident is very different. I'm aware of that. It's not an apples to apples comparison. I was thinking what you're probably thinking. It was the circumstances of my crash, the angle I hit, the way I impacted, that yielded such disappointing results. It was that 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million crash. But when I inspect the Shoei, I don't see any signs of a major impact on this helmet. So I did some research, because I wanted to be able to have faith in this helmet again. It's that good to ride in. I researched for over an hour on the internet, looking for a real-world crash video or review that would ease my doubts in this helmet. But I couldn't find anything. I did, however, find very convincing and overwhelming proof that the Arai Corsair X would end up giving me that premium level of protection that I was looking for in the Shoei. And back in the day when I purchased the Shoei, I was considering the Arai. But my mindset back then was, why would I pay twice the price for a helmet that has an ugly shape, less color and graphics options, and offers the same level of protection? That's why. The me of today, though, wishes I had gone with the Arai, because I think that my closeout sale discount Bell helmets would have protected me better, but I'm almost certain that the Arai would have. And even if I'm wrong, which I'll admit I very damn well might be, I don't think I'll ever be capable of having faith in this helmet again. And I don't want to ride motorcycles with that kind of doubt in the back of my mind. So, thank you for watching, and like I said, if you disagree, I hope you're having a great day. Valen Pross, Enthusiast List. Thanks for swinging by. I'll see you on the next one. Also, before you go, I don't think I mentioned this, but this helmet, while it was disappointing me, it saved my life. So if you have this helmet, most likely it's gonna save yours too. The only thing for me is,
Fool me once, shame on you. If fool me, we can't get fooled again.